Welcome to the interview. I'm Dan Hollander, and today we're talking with Lawrenceburg Mayor Keith Durham. Good to have you with us again, Keith.
Well, thank you, Dan. I appreciate you taking your time and dropping by my office and spending some time talking with me.
And I know you enjoy spreading information that people may not know other than this.
Absolutely. You know, I don't have a Facebook account or any type of social media account, so I rely on opportunities like this right here and interviews like this to spread information.
Okay. I guess one of the big things people are concerned and want to know about is new jobs coming to the area. How does that look?
Absolutely. So that's one of the things that I'm very most interested in. You know, anybody that would run for political office in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee would run on the grounds of creating jobs. And I think in my near memory, everybody has run on that platform. We have got some things in place now that are really starting to pay off for us. It took several years to develop. One of the things is our tax increment finance zone that we've created as a city. We actually created that zone 6 years ago, but it's just now here in the year 2016, 2017, getting to the level where it can really help our community with the opportunities that it provides. And we're seeing those opportunities take place with especially some of the things that were going on up at the Strip with the new Zaxby's, the new Jack's, and the purchase of the property adjacent to that. So we're happy about those things that are going on. In turn, you know, we had a new jobs announcements with 88 jobs with Cabinets to Go about a month ago, and that's great for our community. But we're hoping that turns into more than what it looks like. You know, when you peel back the apple, there's a lot of stuff inside.
Right.
And so that's what this project has turned out to be. And through that tax increment finance zone, that company lies wholly inside that zone, and we're able to incentivize those folks not only to hire people here in Lawrenceburg, but move their operations from California to Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
Yeah. Pretty selective in the industries that you try to recruit.
Absolutely not. I get that question all the time, and most of the time the content of that question comes from the spec building that we have up there. Are you being selective on who you put in the spec building? No, we're not being selective, but we do have I guess a goal set for that facility. You know, that building is being paid for by the tax increment finance funds that zone creates. That's not coming from our current tax base at all. So the citizens, their taxes have not went up to pay for that facility or anything. So the zone pays for that. So, but we do want that to be a productive facility. I think it would be probably against the will of most people here in Lawrenceburg if we just let somebody, you know, take over that building and make it a warehouse. So, you know, we've had that opportunity in the past, but I'm not interested in just warehousing things there. We want to create jobs and to say if we're going to be selective, no. As far as industry types, absolutely not. Anybody that wants to come in there with 25 or more jobs will have that opportunity to take that facility.
And that's not an easy thing to do, is it?
Absolutely not. What makes it hard is that you look at Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, we've got a population of about 14,000, we've got a daytime population of double that. And you can tell that when you're driving down the streets here in
Absolutely.
Lawrenceburg. Traffic has, if you haven't driven down Lawrenceburg streets in a long time, traffic has become an issue here in Lawrenceburg. So now that's rearing its head and it's moving itself to the top of the list on how do you solve that issue. We've put all of our efforts in the city and the county, including the city of Loretto. We've put all of our efforts behind the Lawrenceburg Chamber of Commerce, and we have made them our economic development arm here inside the county. It's not a city effort, it's not a county effort. It is a cooperative effort from all municipalities within the county itself. Ethan Hadley, who is considered to be a home run for our community, including Summertown and Loretto and Etheridge and Lawrenceburg, he goes out and he searches for those jobs who are willing to relocate here to Lawrence County and prove to the world that they can set up and do business here and be productive and be profitable.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How about the population of Lawrence? Is it still pretty well staying the same? Do you see a few people drifting in, moving here, or?
You know, we do. A lot of the home sales, I won't say most of, but a lot of the home sales, Dan, are going to people from outside of even the state of Tennessee who are coming into Tennessee to make their residence, and they're finding Lawrenceburg to be that home. And where we're losing we're losing our population during the daytime who are going out to work at other places. And so my wife is a good example of that. My wife works in Murray County. We live here in Lawrence County, but she works in Murray County. But if you keep that up for a certain amount of time, certain individuals will move closer to those jobs. And so we stand that risk of losing our good workers here locally to jobs that exist outside our borders.
Mm-hmm. Right. How about crime? Is that becoming more of a problem?
I'll tell you, I think Terry Beecham and our police department are doing a great job keeping a handle on crime here in Lawrenceburg. I wake up every morning and I watch the Channel 5 news, and it just astounds me that every single morning they've got something about a shooting that took place, or a murder that's taken place, or a robbery that's taken place. And I'm just so glad I live in a place like Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, that when you turn the radio on, you don't hear that kind of stuff, and you hear the people, the locals that's just coming in that make the news. It's not the crime that makes the news.
In general, overall, how are we doing as far as cities this size? Doing pretty well?
I tell you what, I think we're doing really good, and it's taken us a long time to get there, Dan. The city of Lawrenceburg is in a position where it hasn't been in decades. We have money in the bank where we didn't have it before. We are now in a position where our employees, even though we're going through this time where insurance is going through the roof, because the city of Lawrenceburg is not unlike any other corporation in America. We had a 15% increase in insurance this year for what I consider no reason at all, but just a 15% increase in insurance, which is a lot of money. And we have been able to stay afloat and run the city and provide the services that we provide without having a tax increase. I know at least for 10 years, we haven't had a tax increase in 10 years. Mm-hmm. And so we're still able to do that. And I think that's a testament to where we are as a city. We do have, like I said before, we do have some money in the bank, whereas in years past, I can remember when I first became a commissioner that we had during the spring when things got low, actually during the fall when things got lean, we would go to the bank and borrow money as a city just to make payroll. The city hasn't done that since I've been mayor, and I'm proud to say that we have got the wherewithal to watch the money that we spend. And I tell you, we owe Chris Schaefer a lot for that. A lot of my department heads say, well, Chris pinches every penny. Well, you know what, that's his job, and he does that, and he does it well.
Yeah. How about improvements in the downtown area? We noticed some of those, and is that working the way you want it to work?
It is. I think if you were to say, is it working as fast as I want it to work,
right.
Then I would say no, it's not, because I have a real job outside of being the mayor, and things work at a fast pace there. So when you sit down and decide at a meeting that something's going to happen, the work starts the very next day and it goes until it's completed. In government work, and especially when you're dependent on grants to fund those things, things just don't move that fast. So in the downtown area, 2.5 years ago, the governor came down here, and John Schroer from TDOT came down here and presented the city of Lawrenceburg a $500,000 check to have a sidewalk improvement program for the square and in our historic district down here. And we got into some engineering difficulties, and I guess, for lack of better words, some arguments with how that money was going to be spent, because that's actually federal money that comes down to the city of Lawrenceburg through the state of Tennessee. And in years past, here's how strong the railroad authority is that the railroads have said if you get any federal grants to do road improvements and it's within so many feet of a railroad track, you have to upgrade the railroad track with that same grant money. So in our initial plan, of course, our square just being right next to the railroad tracks, the engineers from the state of Tennessee came down and said, listen, you're going to have to upgrade these railroad crossings to today's standards and make them compliant. And so the grant was $500,000. The railroad crossing improvements themselves were $400 and something thousand. And so I said, I'm not going to fix these railroads and not fix our sidewalks with that grant. So long story short, that grant lapsed. The state of Tennessee has re-given us that grant. We applied again. We've gotten the $500,000 grant, and we have creatively engineered our way around those railroad tracks or away from those railroad tracks. And so we should see work start on that fairly soon, because the state of Tennessee is allowing us to use all of our geotechnical and all of our engineering stuff that we had previously done. So we've already got all that stuff done. We've got a shovel-ready project for it.
Good.
So you should be seeing some improvements pretty quick.
Okay, good. I've always heard the story about you never know who the stranger is that you meet on the street or sitting next to you in a cafe or whatever. Might be somebody from an industry that's just scouting around. Does that happen still?
It happens all the time. You wouldn't believe it happens all the time. And not only that, they look at Facebook. So what they'll do is they'll type in a keyword like Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, and they'll see the types of comments that come out of Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. And I think what they get there is they get a level of the competency of the people or the workforce around them. And so, case in point, we were talking with Jerry, one of the guys at Cabinets to Go, and they were sitting in a local restaurant. And when we were sitting upstairs with them at the Chamber of Commerce before they made the decision to move here to Lawrenceburg, they were saying we sat in a local restaurant and we couldn't believe how nice everybody was and the service that we received. And they said right there, this is where we want to be. So it does play a big, huge role.
You wouldn't think it would, but
Absolutely.
it absolutely does.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, how about the average citizen? They need to be positive about the city and its future. At times, I guess that's difficult.
And listen, there's times it's difficult as mayor at times because, like I said, things don't move as fast as we want them to move sometimes. And we spoke about the state that the city of Lawrenceburg's in, and I will have to hand it to the citizens of Lawrenceburg. We've had to do without a few things in the past years so that we could get to a state where we can have. So it's just like the lesson that our fathers and our grandfathers taught us, is that you got to do without sometimes so that when the time comes you can do what's right. And I think that's what we've done here at the city. But yeah, if people just realize that, as a mayor and as the corporate city employees of the city of Lawrenceburg, we want the same things they want. We want good streets to ride on. We want good sidewalks to be on. We want great schools. We want places to eat. We want places to shop, just like everybody else does.
It just takes a lot of time and a lot of money.
It does, and like I said, sometimes it takes longer than even I'm willing to think.
We appreciate the visit.
I appreciate you being here. Thank you for the interview.
We'll come back and talk with you again later.
All right, thank you, Dan.
I guess today, Lawrenceburg Mayor Keith Durham. That's the interview. I'm Dan Hollander, and thanks for watching.